show up better on the camera too.
That's right, that was my reason. I have a beard now.
We could zoom in on you so
That's
that,
what I wanted.
so that the only face on camera is yours.
I bet that would be bad.
The Bhutan can.
That would send a really bad.
I think I'm gonna go with
You have your moments.
I have one of those faces that, I mean, people are like, you don't seem very happy. I'm like, I don't know, it's just the way my face is. I'm actually
Yeah.
a very pleasant guy.
It's the camera.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like it adds 50 pounds.
That's right, that's right.
It can be 50 degrees. So, and we were looking at that.
Yeah, I want it.
Hey, John?
You're late to the reorg meeting, you get reorged.
You see?
We're not late yet.
Nothing
You're not even
says
late,
no.
it's the last.
Not even, almost a minute to 6.
Yeah, the church bells went while we were pedaling. I went, oh my gosh, I'm late.
My clock says 5:59.
Full time or something?
What's that?
Is it full time?
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe the bells go, maybe it's the whole time the bells go. And then when they end, it's at 6.
Well, we're gonna get this on time, right?
Yes, I got
I
5:59.
know, I'm just saying, I mean, we changed it from 7 to 6.
Correct,
so-
correct,
I almost
correct.
forgot that. I actually checked my email today.
Awesome.
Remember?
It's too gorgeous of a day today.
I know, it's just beautiful. You're gonna do the hammer?
So my clock says 6 o'clock, so in the only meeting that I get to chair a little bit, I will call this reorganization meeting of the Board of Education to order. The first order of business is administering the oath of office to the 4 board members who were elected less than a month ago. So if the 4 board members would join Becky for the oath of office.
Yoli, Kathleen, Allison, and Francis. If you pick up your oath.
We took a picture of us.
There's 2 copies, I'll have you sign them and then.
At least they have people in the audience this year. Last year, we got nobody.
Let's do the oath first.
I'll tweet it.
I see they're not represented.
And please raise your right hand and read along. I have been elected or appointed to the office of school board member, Stoughton Area School District. Swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Wisconsin, and will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of said office to the best of my abilities. Thank you. Congratulations.
Yeah, Kathleen is sitting here. You can, I want to sit in the front row. Is that okay?
Francis, I'm moving the briefcase, so Isabel can sit there.
Oh, I meant you can sit at the table right here when they're
Sit here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we're good there.
There, I tweeted a picture of the 4 of you taking the oath.
I've never tweeted.
So congratulations to everyone. At this point, I will have Becky officially take roll.
Thank you. Mr. Bouban,
Here.
Mr. Coughlin,
Here.
Mr. Fry,
Here.
Ms. Fitzgibbon,
Here.
Mr. Jackson,
Here.
Ms. Soar,
Here.
Mr. Sullivan,
Here.
Ms. Hoppy,
Here.
Brooke Murphy,
Here.
Isabel Genter. Here.
Thank you, Becky. As I think the current board knows, but people in the audience and on camera may not know, Donna Tarpinian officially resigned from the board last week, Tuesday, for personal reasons. So we thank Donna for her years of service on the board and her dedication. At this point, we are starting the reorganization meeting, and the first order of business is to elect officers. One of the things that I've learned from the last reorg meeting is we do not need to second a nomination for an officer, as long as the person being nominated is willing to serve and does not indicate so. There is no need for a second. So at this point, I will take nominations for president of the school board.
I nominate Frank Sullivan to be board president.
Frank Sullivan has been nominated. I'm assuming, Frank, that you are willing to serve if elected?
Yes.
Is there any other nominations for president? Any other nominations for president? Third and final call for nominations of president. Seeing none, hearing none. All those in favor of Frank Sullivan being the president of the school board for this upcoming year, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And any abstentions?
I abstain.
One abstention. So 7 yes, no's, one abstention. So at this point, Frank has been elected president, and I will turn the meeting over to him. Congratulations, Frank. Yes, yes, this gavel is yours. The seat is
You
yours.
can't throw it at me.
Yes. It's
Careful
not
with
like
that
the
hammer.
Thor's hammer, it comes back to you. Once you throw it, it's gone.
Don't get too excited.
You may have to elect a different person at the game.
Hey, Tim, maybe I'll do it. Nice job.
Yes.
You did it.
A little.
He was different. At this point, we will entertain nominations for vice president. Steve.
I would like to nominate Joe Fry for vice president.
Mr. Fry, do you accept the nomination?
I do.
Are there any other nominations for vice president?
I would like to nominate Allison Sword.
Ms. Sword, do you accept the nomination?
I hadn't thought about that.
Take your time.
Thank you. I think at this time I will not, but thank you.
Are there any other nominations? Going once, going twice. All in favor of Mr. Fry serving as vice president for the current board year, please so signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I will abstain.
You got ahead of me. I was going to say any abstentions.
I would abstain.
Mr. Fry abstains. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you, sir. And you as well.
At this point, we will accept nominations for the position of clerk. Allison,
I nominate Yoli Beth Fitzgibbon.
do you accept the nomination, Yul? Are there any other nominations? Going once, going twice. All in favor of Yoli serving as clerk for the upcoming board year, please so signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Jim, do we elect deputy clerk?
Yes, we do. We started electing a deputy clerk probably 3-4 years ago because there are sometimes for statutory timelines that we need a signature, and if the clerk is unavailable, we have a backup in the deputy clerk.
At this point, we'll accept nominations for the position of deputy clerk. I did it last year. It's not rigorous.
I nominate Steve Jackson.
Mr. Jackson, do you accept the nomination?
Sure. I accept the nomination.
Nomination.
Are there any other nominations?
I could return the favor.
No, we're not getting my tenure off to this kind of start. Going once, going twice. All in favor of Mr. Jackson serving as deputy clerk for the upcoming board year, please so signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
I abstain.
Congratulations, Mr. Jackson. We'll now accept nominations for the position of treasurer.
Will you, go ahead.
Yoli?
Give your name.
I will nominate Allison.
Allison, do you accept the nomination?
I will accept.
Are there any other nominations for the position of treasurer? Going once, going twice. All in favor of Allison serving as treasurer for the upcoming board year, please so signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Abstain.
Congratulations. At this point, it falls upon the president apparently to place people in various positions. Please check me, Tim, as I get them wrong. First, the CISA delegate. John, you served in that role last year. Would you be willing to continue that?
Yes.
Thank you. Next is the Legislative Issues Dane County School Board Consortium Rep, a position that was filled by Donna ably for many years. Is there anyone who has a burning interest in this position? Tim?
Sure, I'll do it.
Thank you. The Wisconsin Association of School Boards representative, the person who attends the WASB convention is our delegate. Last year was you, John. Would you like to continue that?
I'm fine doing it again. If anybody else has an interest in seeing that process, they are welcome to take it.
I'm registered to go already, so, yeah, I'd be fine doing it.
Okay. We'll put Kathleen down for it then, unless anyone else has a burning desire. Thank you, Kathleen. In terms of the committee nominations, at this point, we've only 8 board members, so there may be some reshuffling after the 9th person is appointed, but here are the current committee assignments. And Becky, I've got all these written down, so if I go too fast, I'll just hand you this after. For the Employee Relations Committee, Mr. Fry to chair, and Ms. Fitzgibbon and Ms. Sorg as members. For the Finance Committee, Ms. Sorg to chair in her capacity as treasurer, then Mr. Coughlin and Mr. Jackson as members. For the Policy Committee, which Ms. Tarpanian chaired for so many years, Mr. Bubon to chair, Ms. Fitzgibbon and Ms. Hop. I'm sorry, is it Hop or Hoppy?
Happy.
Hoppy. I'll get that right eventually, I'm sorry. Ms. Fitzgibbon and Ms. Hoppy as members. For the Facilities Committee, Mr. Jackson to chair, and Mr. Fry and Ms. Hoppy as members. For the Strategic Planning Committee, the District Strategic Planning Core Team, that is something that I would like to leave vacant until the board retreat, after which I'll make appointments to that committee. For the Calendar Committee, Ms. Fitzgibbon, in your position as clerk, you would be the appointment to the Calendar Committee. For the Poverty Task Force, I would ask Ms. Fitzgibbon and Mr. Fry to take on that responsibility.
For the what, I'm sorry?
The Poverty Task Force. And Tim, you were on that last year. Do you want to, would you like to be on that again?
Yeah.
And we'll add you to that as well. For the Insurance Committee, I would ask Steve to continue your work on that. And then Tim, if you would join him on that, please.
Sure.
For the ad hoc committee with the school, city, and chamber. At this point, we have 3 members appointed to it. I'm just going to appoint John to that for right now, and we'll talk later and see if we need to add additional people. I am going to, at Tim's suggestion, also create an executive committee, which will consist of myself and the standing committee chairs. So Mr. Fry, Ms. Sorg, Mr. Bubon, and Mr. Jackson. That committee will meet periodically. Is that all the appointments I need to make, Tim?
I think so.
I hope it is, because it's all the appointments I got.
District task force.
Social media, were we gonna do social media?
Let's,
Wait on that one?
let's wait on social media.
Okay.
So having done that, the next issue is the meeting schedule, which was part of your board packets. Has everyone had a chance to review the proposed meeting schedule?
Yes.
And in the past, the board has, some boards have decided to meet less in the summer. Some have decided the 2 meetings, they want to meet 2 meetings. So there is some flexibility for the board to change the meeting schedules.
Is that one of the July meetings or one of the August meetings?
One of the July normally, the previous boards tried some of the August and found that with school starting and last minute hirees, we needed the 2 in August.
I would entertain a motion to either approve or modify the proposed calendar.
I'll move to approve the calendar as is.
Steve moves to approve as is. Is there a second? to
I'll
that?
second.
Tim seconds. Is there any discussion?
Just to make sure that people are aware that the first meeting in July is the week of July 4th. So I don't know what vacation plans are for members of the board, just to make sure you have a quorum for that meeting.
And Tim, can you remind us, last year we had one in July, I believe. Was that 2 years running that we did that, or just last year?
No, I think it's
2
been
years.
3 or 4.
It's been at least 2 that I
I
remember.
feel like it has, and it's worked
Yeah.
out fine. I don't remember there were any issues that we couldn't cover, so I don't know how anyone feels about that.
July is usually the month that most of the administrative team is gone with vacations, and so it's relatively quiet in the district. I probably just jinxed it by using that word, but that's the discretion of the board.
Can that be used as board development or board retreat?
We certainly could keep it on the calendar right now, and as we get closer to the time, figure out what we want to do with it.
Right. Board can always change it to a board retreat or cancel it if they deem that that's one that you want to cancel.
Okay.
All right,
Shall we call the question?
yes.
Yeah, that's fine.
All in favor of approving the calendar as it appears in the packet, please so signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Tim, do we have finalized plans for the May board retreat yet?
We have, we still looking at the same date, May 4th?
Whatever that Saturday is.
So the plans for the board retreat would be Saturday, May 5th, starting at 9 a.m., going to approximately 3. And I have obtained, actually Becky did all the work and I just kind of said yes. The Venable or Scollin Clubhouse, if you know where that is, right, we'll get you the address right here in town. They have graciously allowed us to use the clubhouse for free. A chance to have the board kind of, the retreat in a kind of a private setting. They just ask that we clean up after ourselves.
We can do that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that sounded confident enough. So I would ask everybody to hold that date, please. and we will get an agenda out as we get closer to the date. So we've now, have we concluded, or do we need to do agenda format?
Just the agenda format is, it doesn't need to be approved, just as a FYI of that's the format we use. So when Becky is setting up a board agenda, now the board could change and say we want some different agenda, we can add that, but that will be the format, with the one exception that we should have added. If you notice, item 7 is a contemplated closed session. We've also sometimes gone to closed session right after roll call if we've needed to have a closed session prior to the meeting. But other than that, that's the agenda format that Becky and I will work with President Sullivan to when we design an agenda for the meetings.
And that is, again, something we can discuss at the board retreat if we think we would like to do something differently or tinker with it. Having concluded all the business on the agenda, can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Mr. Booba, a second?
Second.
Mr. Fry seconds, I think. He's closer, the sun got here first. All in favor, so signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you very much. The meeting is.
Officers, Becky has paperwork that has to be signed, banking and all of that fun stuff. So before you leave, please sign all of that so we can submit all of that and be official. She's just gonna go turn the camera off and then she'll come right back.
I usually just take